Hello and welcome to Sim.bc, where right now it's 10 past 1 as per usual. I think we can say usual by this time, by this hour, yeah? And not only usual about that, but I'm also joining you with a cup of green. Think about the environment, mates. Think about the environment. Now, what's kind of funny about this time exactly is that last Friday, I would like to believe, this specific Friday that went, one of you mates were like, oh, do you want to hang out this afternoon or do you have to record? Because it's one of those limited people I've actually mentioned, yeah, that I have a YouTube channel. I know my marketing isn't the best. And he was like, oh, do you want to hang out later? Do you have to record? And I was like, no worries, mate. I've already recorded. I did it 10 past 1 this morning. And he was like, wow, show's resolve. I like it. And at that point in time, I kind of took the compliment, right? I was like, yeah, it kind of shows resolve, doesn't it? I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm actually showing some commitment, getting up early in the morning to record it to make sure that I do one each and every day. And then it dawned on me, now a couple of days later, that maybe it isn't actually resolved. Maybe it's just maybe the time is just a factor, right? A consequence, let's say, on that I get home around this hour each and every day after work. And after me eating, this is sort of the hour that I end up with. Could just be a matter of convenience now, couldn't it? Fun little anecdote there for you, yeah? But let's move into today's kind of semi-topic. As I say, I'm saying semi-topic is going to be the thing that we're going to talk about. I could just rename the, based on the topic I'm going to talk about, I could just rename this entire project to Tea Time with Sim and things that generally just interest me, yeah? Because they don't seem to have any other form of connection, these topics that I do take up. Anyway. If you do not like conspiracies and anything of the like, anything at all like it, right, then you should probably tune out now. Otherwise, you will be in for a very seeming to be long 10 to 20 minute video, right? Just gonna warn you there, straight off the bat. Now, to build some context, I was walking around to my mates today at work. And I had a video topic in mind. I had spelled it all out for myself, did a bit of research, a bit of background research, and I was generally feeling good about myself. Yeah, having a good feeling about the entire thing. And then I was walking past these two dudes who were talking about like, oh, angels and demons and marketing. And I was like, hell yeah, you got me at marketing, which happened to be the last word though, but you got me at marketing. And I was like asking, what do you guys talk about? And they were talking about angels and demons, conspiracies, and stereotypes. So it was very far from marketing in the beginning, but we did get there, and I hope that you will join me in this little adventure, this little journey where I will eventually get to marketing as well. Hopefully, if I do not forget it halfway through, because I get so worked up, about all the things we're going to talk about. Yeah, that's too hot. Anyway, mates, let's begin. Now, to establish some context, right? These guys are generally people who talk about a lot about conspiracies. This is not the first one that they dangle in, so to say. This is not the first one that they do a little back and forth with. They've been talking about all different sorts of things for a very long time within this sort of area right now. To provide some other context, you know, a couple of days back, a couple of weeks maybe, I was talking about the idea that the thing that you most easily recognize and critique in other people are flaws that you recognize with yourself. Just a short rundown of that is that you recognize that you have a flaw. You try to probably work on that flaw because you're not a total tit, and you try to make yourself better. And when you do that, you have your papers open, yeah, your eyes open for other people who are doing the same thing, because you want to observe a way to actually solve your own problem. That's why you tend to critique people who have the same flaws as you. Just a really short rundown of that entire video. It will probably play a role in a while. So, the basis of the entire thing was that angels are good. They're good guys, tooth and fresh, good boys and girls. And demons are pretty bad. At least they're depicted so. Biblically, methodologically. No, but in mythology, yeah. In mythology-wise, they're also depicted as good and bad. And in just generally in culture, right? There tend to be one side that says that the other one is bad or good or bad. And this was kind of turning that all upside down, and this will be far-fetched. I'm with you, yeah, I understand that, so just bear with me, because we're probably gonna come full circle at the end of this. So basically what they were saying is that this is wrong. The entire depiction of what they are is wrong, and they were basing this on that in most of mythology, yeah, people are saying that demons are bad because it brings out the bad in people. while angels are good because they bring out the good in people. However, what they were taking up was the other way around. What if, right? Just what if demons actually, and I know I'm talking about angels and demons, this is not going to reflect well in a future job interview when they're going to be like, oh, so have you done anything on the internet, anything publicly? Now I'm like, yo, just Google my name and this comes up and it's going to be like, so demons and angels and conspiracy. Yeah, it's going to be the best. Hopefully they watch any other form of video and see that I'm not a complete nutter. Also, why I'm kind of blaming it on some of my mates from work, so that I don't look like a complete nutter. Cool hedging, personal hedging for future's sake. But it's still an interesting topic, at least I think so. So, but basically what they were saying, right, after all of that hedging, was that demons tend to take out the worst of people, tend to bring up the worst of people. However, what they thought was that, what if, right, what if, just a fart in the dark, what if demons just put out the true nature of people, yeah? What if they just put out the true nature of people? Made them show off the true nature of who they tend to be, and people just didn't tend to like who they were, and actually rather disliked and were truly afraid who they really were. And other people around them was also afraid of who they became, because they didn't actually, they weren't really themselves with other people because of, peer pressure have existed since, forever. So, yeah. That's basically the entire gist of it. So demons don't pick up the worst in you, they pick up the true you, which people think are very different from who you are generally. Whilst the angels, on the other hand, are just liars, kind of Belial, the Lord of Lies, right? Primevals and all of that stuff. All that good stuff. Basically, right, that angels were not bringing out the best of you, they were just simply tricking everyone around you and tricking you to believe that you are someone that you were not, which made you feel better about yourself. Now, this is obviously horrible and hopefully not true, but bear with me, mates, bear with me. What they were basically talking about, and what this basically led into, was that, demons probably didn't exist. I mean, I'm not gonna rule it out, obviously, but most likely, I don't believe in ghosts and stuff, so I would shove that all to the side. So maybe they didn't exist. Angels, probably the same way around. Personally, don't really believe in them that much. I mean, they could, in one possibility or another, exist, but probably not, if you ask me personally. However, what we got into was, because I did join these fellas in the discussion, my saying discussion was more of a rant from all sides, really. I was joining in saying, like, what if, though, demons and angels in this methodology, in this mythical, understanding and historical records, are based on people who tended to bring out the true nature of people, which would be the quote-unquote demon then, bring out the true nature of people and really making them feel like, yeah, this is who I really am, and that would consequently scare other people because they didn't tend to act like that before. Whilst angels, on the other hand, was depicted as people, who just lied to everyone around them and made everybody feel better as a consequence in the short run, which was also what all the people saw because information wasn't as easily transmitted as it is today. Yeah, I know I didn't say it wasn't far-fetched, right? It is quite far-fetched. But the entire idea of this is that if information is harder to transmit, if it's just based on books, it's based on what people have been seeing, it's based on generally, right, what people are experiencing, what it is, which it still is today though, but today you have such a wider array of things to access when gaining an experience in comparison to, 1,000, 2,000, maybe even 3,000 years ago. And what this happened to be was that people made up demons and angels then in order to represent these type of people. So the people who brought out the true personality, so to say, that really either scared them themselves or the people around them, because they tend to be, not the quote-unquote not themselves when they were themselves because of peer pressure yet again. And they kind of depicted that sort of people as demons, whilst they were depicting the other sort of people who lied all the time, which maybe knew or didn't know, as angels, because, people tend to feel good around them. And then they used these two figures to market, yeah, I know, we got into it, right, to market these types of people, because it's so much easier to market random angel then that's been around for thousands of years, right? Or for all eternity, for that matter. Instead of market, Jacob, who lives 6 feet down the street to the left behind the butcher's boy. That kind of thing. So it's much easier to talk about an angel because everybody will kind of recognize that. Yeah, they will. But there are certain connotations that will be put together with that word. So when people have angel, they're like, oh, nice, probably helps other people and all that good stuff. 2 thumbs fresh. Instead of being like, so Jacob down the street, and they will be like, who is Jacob? What is he? Why do I have to care? What did you say he was doing again? Was it good? Was it bad? Instead of just saying angel and use that as sort of a marketing term in order to describe people who were good, and was vice versa, using demons to sort of describing people who were bad, and then brand and market people in that form of regard, which I think is widely interesting because it comes into the psychology of marketing. Where does it originate from? Was it actually existing and evident before the, let's say, the 1900s, 1800s, 1700s, when things began to be globalized and commercialized on a whole other scale? Have it always existed? And is all of the different religions just very neat ways of marketing? Kind of interesting, quite interesting if you ask me. Which you probably did if you're still in the video. So I thought it was rather interesting to just put that kind of spin to it to begin with, but we can actually take it one way further. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Because it's one way of saying that, they kind of use demons and whatever to market these people, and they were kind of using angels and whatever to market those sorts of people. But then obviously, information became widely accessible. And now we're coming to the, kind of conspiracy about it all. Which meant that when it was easier to sort of, quote-unquote, prove that these types of beings didn't exist. And this might have been around for hundreds and 200 and 300 years, the perception and the idea that, we can't actually prove it, we believe in science instead, ever since Columbus or whatever. Today, everybody's walking around with a camera, so it's really easy to, sort of disprove all of these things. It's sort of the same argument to people saying that, it's kind of funny how UFOs and stuff never abduct people in the middle of Paris or in the middle of New York or in the middle of London, where people are constantly looking up at the sky to see, certain things, certain buildings, certain landmarks. It's always, to someone you never heard about who lives very far away in the countryside. It's the same sort of idea here, that it's very hard to actually say that angels and demons exist and they do pop up whatsoever and every so often without actually, when people have this wide accessibility to phones and stuff. Right? Because we can always take pictures of them if they would appear, which kind of puts a dent in that entire argument, in that entire thing. So, what people then tended to do, or according to these guys, and this is where it kind of fell through and became more of a crazy conspiracy than an interesting marketing ploy from the, hundreds AD, in my opinion at least, was that religion is still trying to push this idea, and people still try to push this idea because it's still an easy marketing term, which it is. That's nothing wrong with that. But they also tended to say that, this sort of idea has shifted over the ones. That it's good to be an angel, which in turn people think is good, but it's also actually just lying to people. And I'm like, yeah, but we didn't really establish that was the truth in the beginning, though. And they're like, yeah, based on the entire argument is based on that this is true. Simultaneously, the demons are bad. And they were sort of saying, and now that I'm talking about it, it sounds like I've been talking to some people who were worshipping Satan, right? Because their entire idea was that maybe we should be coming down somewhere in the middle, or slightly favored to the demon side of it, and say that, it's one thing to say that it's good to be an angel, but it's another to really say what an angel should be representing and what it actually represents. And based on the argumentation that we had in the entire discussion that we had, it was based on that, well, they actually just tend to lie to you and not really be yourself, whilst on the other hand, being yourself is tended to be viewed as rather negative. And simultaneously, they were trying to drag in the media picture of how, you're depicted everywhere, how you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to look like, what you're supposed to feel like, and what you're supposed to, just care about. Whilst on the other hand, when you do believe in your own things, you're quote unquote cool, I guess, because it's cool to be yourself, but simultaneously then you kind of go sort of against the media picture, maybe not all of the time, but some of the time. Perhaps you eat a lot because you like food and you actually don't care about what you look like. I'm saying you don't care. What if you think that you're beautiful if you're fat, for instance? That's you being yourself, but in their opinion, that was more like going along on the demon track, so to say, than going along the angel track, because the angel is more representative of the media picture that we have today, and it's just a certain extension, right? And I know I'm going to like 120 here, but a certain extension of marketing and the way that marketing has been done over the last 2,000 years up until today, where media is representing the angel and what is good and so on and so forth, but it's actually just lies hidden behind Photoshop and so on and so forth. I know it's a crazily far-fetched idea, but believe me mates, I was like knees deep into this discussion today for hours, yeah? I mean, we were working away with the things that we were supposed to do. We didn't lack in any form of efficiency, because that's number one, am I right? To any future employee there who might have been listening through this entire video and thought, this is a nutter. At least I care for efficiency in the first, right? But we were working at sort of the same station after a while, and we were like, you know what, let's continue the discussion. And we were talking about this for a good, I would say, 1.5 to 2 hours. So yeah, I just thought it was an interesting point of view, seeing like how we can contradict the stereotypes of what most people think that one sort of group is behavioral to, or is supposed to be like. And that's also the entire idea that, well, if you're supposed to be in the group of angels, let's say, it's also the group of media as it is perceived today by, you know, the general consensus of the viewer, that social media is sort of bad in the way that it depicts how you're supposed to look, like, feel and want, and that is all based on lies, which is to some extent the arm or a branch of what it was to be called an angel, because it was just, you know, lies, because, you know, I don't know. Yeah, this is sort of where it falls flat on itself when you try to close it all out and what this all means. As I'm talking about it, it feels like this was more just of a discussion against, I'm saying discussion, more of a rant from three sides, based on minor details, by the way, on social media and marketing and the perception that we have today. Even though they were trying to start it off as a controversy, it is to say the least, but it's sort of a conspiracy of what is really religion, and I was sort of steering it into, but what is really marketing though? So it was an interesting discussion and an interesting topic, but it just goes about to show that, well, yeah, yet again, this closing segment is really hard. Let's say this instead. If you see social media, right, and you think this is supposed to be good, or rather, if and you let's go with it. And you see social media and you think this is supposed to be good, then you should recognize and should think about how much of that is actually just lies. And then if you see someone who you think is sort of outside of society, someone that you would consider to be bad, or someone that you would consider to not be looking the finest, so to say, or at least standing a bit outside of society, maybe you should think about, maybe they're just themselves and they want to be that way. I'm not saying that everybody does on either side of the road here or either side of the party. Just consider that and don't just look down on them, because looking down on people is really bad. Yeah, that's sort of a life lesson that we can get out of this. Yeah, sounds good. Let's end on that and just be like, you know, don't look down on people. Hopefully this entire discussion led to this. Yeah, it's not like at all that I was just making this point up as thing to end on. No. Don't look down on people. Yeah, let's stick with that. Have a nice one, mate. See you. Bye.